All right, I am recording, by the way. So we are going to be doing operations of functions. This is take some of those easier problems that we did in 2.1, and it's basically just doing it twice in one problem. It's not any harder, okay? So there are two ways that you will see one of these questions written out. One of them is like this: F plus G of 4. Okay. That's not F plus G times 4. It's just something with our functions. What that means really is F of 4 plus G of 4. So we're going to take our two functions, we're going to evaluate them separately, and then add our answers together. So think back to what we first learned. F of 4. This is where we're going to use the store button on the calculator. So if you'll remember, we're plugging in 4 for x. So we have to tell our calculator that x is 4. So we type in a 4, and then you do your store button. That's this one right here above on. And then you type in x, and you hit enter. And what we did was we told our calculator, whenever I type in x, I want you to assume that it's 4. That's what the calculator is going to do. And so it's f of 4. So now we're going to type in our f function, 3x minus 7, and hit enter. And we get 5. And then we'll do g of 4. Our calculator still thinks that x is 4, so we don't have to use the store button again. We'll just type in 13 minus 2x, and we actually get 5 again. That's just a coincidence. It doesn't always happen like that. So we have our two separate answers. This is asking us to add them together because it was f of 4 plus g of 4. So we're going to do 5 plus 5, which is what? 10. Thank you. Good. So we've just got two separate we can do all in the calculator. Two separate things, and then we'll either add, subtract, multiply, or divide them. So let's look over here at number 1. We're finding f of negative 2 and g of negative 2. So in your calculator, we're going to store negative 2. So negative 2, store x. And then we're typing in our f function, 2x squared minus x minus 12. And we just so happen to get negative 2. And then we're doing g of negative 2. So we've already got negative 2 in. We just type in x plus 7 because that's my g function. And we get 5. And then what do I need to do with those two numbers? Add them. So negative 2 plus 5 equals 3. Are there any questions about where any of this came from? If you don't understand something, now if you've not been here, you're going to feel a little lost. So hopefully you'll catch on, especially if you didn't watch the other videos. If you've not done anything since being off, then you're going to be lost, okay? All right. So let's go to number 2. Now, this is just that other way of writing it. This is the same thing as having f of 8 minus g of 8. Same thing. So f of 8, we're going to go to our calculator. We're going to tell it that x is 8. You don't have to retype the f function. If you scroll up until you've highlighted it, you hit enter, and then hit enter again, it brings it back down and it gives you your answer. And if you prefer to retype it, that's fine.
Wait, what did you do now?
I just scrolled up and I highlighted. I typed it in earlier, and when you hit enter, whatever's highlighted comes back down like that. It comes back down there.
Okay, so it's the same equation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because f, our function didn't change. The only thing that changed was our x, and I told my calculator what my new x was, but the function itself didn't change. And then g of 8, it's easier for me just to type x plus 7 than to go find it again. So either way works. You can go find it and highlight it or just retype it. And we get 15. This time we are subtracting. We're taking our f function minus our g. So 108 minus 15 equals 93. Any questions? All right, let's try number 3. F of negative 1 and g of negative 1. So negative 1, store that as x. And then we're typing in the f function. You can retype it if you want, or you can go highlight it and bring it down. Either way, you get negative 9. If you didn't get negative 9, maybe make sure you stored negative 1. Okay. And then for g, that's x plus 7, which is 6. And what am I doing with the two numbers? Multiply. Negative 9 times 6 is negative 54. Good. Any questions? All right, number 4. We're going to start by finding f of 5 and g of 5. So I want you to...
question. So on this one, we divide.
Yeah. All right, so 5, store that as x. And I'm going to get my f function. And you get 33. And then your g function is x plus 7. And you get 12. Right. So he asked if this is dividing. So we could just write it as a fraction, 33 over 12. We will want to see if that simplifies. So if we go to alpha y equals and type in 33 over 12, it does simplify to 11 over 4. So you can leave it as a fraction. Or you can do 11 divided by 4, and you get 2.75. So either one of these answers would be fine. Now, if when we divided, we got just some really ugly decimal, like several digits, it would be better to leave it as a fraction. A fraction is better than rounding. But something like this, 2.75, that was fine. All right, so I'm going to pause the recording. So 5 and 6, you should have gotten negative 93 on number 5. So we already had 15 and 108 on number 2. The difference was the order that we subtracted. We get negative 93. And then 6, f of 4, you should have got 16. G of 4, 11. And you multiply the 2 to get 176. So are there any questions on these operations? If you didn't get one of these numbers or you don't know how to get them, maybe after I get done, like put a star by it or something, and I can come look and maybe see and show you how to do it, okay? Let's turn over to the back. And this one is still very similar. It's just something that you may have never seen before. And it's called composition. And so one way that you will see it written is like this. So the operation that's there almost looks like multiplication, but it's an open circle. That's just a symbol that we use here. We could also write it like this. Those two mean the same thing, and I'll show you how we solve those. So what we're going to do is we're going to solve the inside first. So if that says f of g of 1, we would do g of 1 first. And then we're going to take that answer and we're going to plug it into whatever letter is on the outside, whatever function is on the outside. So we won't be plugging in necessarily the same number each time. But it's always important that you do the inside one first. Or the farthest right one, the last one. Kind of working backwards. So on number 7, we're going to start with this inside h. So we're going to do h of 2. So 2, store that as x. And then my h function is 5x minus 3. So h of 2 is 7. And then I'm going to go to g, but I'm not finding g of 2. I'm going to find g of what? Take your answer, plug it in, so 7. So we're going to take 7 right there. So now we do have to do the store button again. So 7, store that as x. And then my g function is x minus 1. You probably could have done that in your head. 7 minus 1 is 6. Right? And 6 is your final answer. Once you've put the 7 in there, you don't have to do anything else with it. So let's try another one. We're going to do the inside first. So we're going to do f of negative 2 first. So negative 2, store that as x. And then we're going to type in x cubed plus 8. Does everybody know how to get the cubed? Okay. And my answer is 0. So once you type in x, this button above the divide looks like an up arrow kind of. Yeah, and then you type in 3. Yeah, and then after you push the 3, arrow outside of it, or you're going to keep typing in the exponent. Yep. All right. So after I do f, which function am I going to do? H. We go to the outside. And what number am I plugging in?
0, right?
Mm-hmm. We take our answer from before, and that's the number that we plug in. So I'm going to do 0, store that as x, hit enter, and then my h function is 5x minus 3. And we get negative 3. All right, number 9. So we're going to start with h of 0, kind of just work backwards, work right to left or inside out. Did we just find h of 0?
Yeah.
And it was what?
Negative 3.
Negative 3. So you don't even have to type that in your calculator because it's the same. So then, which function are we going to? F. And we're going to find f of negative 3. So we always take our previous answer. That's what we plug in. So -3. Store that as x. And then I can go back and get my function, or you could retype it, might be faster. And we get -19. Any questions? Right. Number 10, we're starting with f of -3, which we just found. Once again, that was -19. And then we go to g, and we're doing g of -19. So we're going to store that in the calculator. And then our function is x minus 1. And we get -20, which is our answer. I want you to try numbers 11 and 12. All right, so what did you get for number 11? 16. That is correct. And what about number 12? 8 is correct. Yep. So for number 11, h of 1, you should have got 2 to start off with. And that number you plugged into f to get 16. And then f of 1 was 9. Plug that into g to get 8.